Really no way that one person ever, even if we had a lifetime, could really expound on everything that there is. So when we come together for just, an hour or 2 hours, there's so much to tell that the person who's speaking is really kind of at a loss as to where to begin, what to say, because my job up here is to try to communicate, really is not to tell you everything about the Baha'i Faith, because there's no way that I can. It's not to convince you this is the right way, because we don't believe in that. All really my job is to do is to convince to you and to convey to you my love of this faith. Because that's all I can really do. That's all I can really give you. All I can give you is just my understanding, and that's so small. I can just give you my perspective, and that's so narrow. But hopefully in that there will be something, God willing, something that touches a part of you and makes you say, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll investigate this further, because that's really the purpose of this. The purpose of us coming together is for us as Baha'is to share this with you because we love it. Because this is something that we found that we love, and it's simply out of our love that we want to share it. I am not a clergy member. I have no rank, no station. I have no power. I have no authority. I have nothing. I'm just a regular Baha'i, just as all of us are regular Baha'is. We don't do this because somebody told us to, other than God. We're not getting paid for this. We don't get pats on the back for this. We don't get applause for this. We do this because we love this. So I guess where I'll start is probably at the most basic level. As Baha'is, we believe in, I would say, 3 central teachings. And the central teaching, the very essence of the Baha'i Faith, you've already heard, and you've heard it in abundance tonight, and that's the oneness of mankind. Everything that we do, everything that we believe, everything that we stand for, everything that we live for, supports that principle. It's all about that principle, the oneness of mankind. Because we believe that we are living in a very special age, you see. An age that has been promised from the beginning of our recorded history, really. The beginning of our religious history, anyway. There's always been this promise. There's always been this dream, this hope, that one day we really will be able to solve our differences. Not just in theory, I mean really. We're so far away from it, and we've been living with war for so long that really it's probably very difficult for us to conceive of a world without it. To really imagine a world without hatred, without racism, without some kind of bigotry or prejudice. But wouldn't it be great if we could? Can you even imagine for a moment what the world would be like if we didn't divide ourselves because of the color of our skin, or because of what country we were born in, or because of how much money we have in the bank, or because of what university we went to? We find all of these ways to divide ourselves and dissect ourselves and say, well, I'm in this category and you're in that category, so you have to stay over there and I'm going to stay over here. And what that does is the workshop, I believe very powerfully portrayed, is what that is doing is that is killing all of us. Every single one of us. It doesn't matter whether you're on top or on the bottom. It doesn't matter whether you're in power or you're being oppressed. As long as that division is there, all mankind suffers. All mankind is held back. So that teaching, the oneness of mankind, you've heard a lot about today. But I want to talk about 2 other teachings. And this is the oneness of God and the oneness of religion. Because these 3 things, the oneness of God, the oneness of religion, and the oneness of mankind, are the very core of the Baha'i beliefs. What does it mean that there's one God? Anybody? Anybody? Anyone? Anyone? I feel like I'm in a classroom. I should do this for a living. Yes, in the back. This is great. I love this.
There's only one God, and all of the teachers are set by this one God. There's just one God, and there's no like fire God or water God or earth God or whatever. There's only one God.
What do you guys think about that idea? Not everybody believes that, though. That's a problem. We have to come to understand that the Allah that some people pray to is the same Jehovah and the same Bhagwan and the same Om, or the same Dios, or the same Dieu that all of us pray to. It's the same source. It's the same God. It's the same light. Think about that for a second. Why is that so important? Okay, so there's one God. Great. Now hold on a minute. Think about the reality of that. If I love God, and I see that you love God too, and I recognize that it's the same God. Now wait a minute now. That means I have something in common with you. That means we are both lovers of the same light. That means we're both striving after the same thing. Even though I may call myself a Hindu and you may call yourself a Muslim, or you may call yourself a Christian or a Jew or whatever you call yourself, if we recognize that our teachings, our love, our prayers are all going towards the same source, that we're all working towards the same goal, all of a sudden, we have a responsibility here. We're supposed to be working together probably, maybe. I don't know. Get that? Yeah? Silence, hush falls over the multitude. But the oneness of God is actually a little bit deeper than that. There's more to it than that. It's not just a recognition that there's one source that we all come from. One God means much more than that. The principle of the oneness of God actually is something that was established in religious history thousands of years ago. Everybody know who Abraham is? The whole purpose of Abraham was to come and tell us, hey guys, there's only one God. There's only one God. At the time, I'll paint the scenario, okay? You guys ready? I'm going to take you back in time. Don't mind me. I come from a theater background, so sometimes I'm a little crazy. All right? Back in the time of Abraham, we've got all these different people running around. You know, they're all kind of fending for themselves, killing each other. It's kind of a real savage type thing. And they've got a place of worship. And in this place of worship, they've got all these little idols, all these little statues. And they're all made of stone. And people come and they offer food and they sacrifice their cattle and their livestock, and they pray, and they sit in front of this little tiny wooden statue or stone statue. Please help me, make my crops grow. As if this tiny wooden statue could do that. Well, there's a funny story about what Abraham did. He was born into this culture, and he was born into the most powerful clan or tribe of these people. And so one day he was told to watch the idols. They had one person who was always kind of like a guard. And so what he did was, he sat there and they all brought food and they placed them in front of all the idols. And there was one big one. This one big one was supposed to be like the chief god of the gods. You know, he was like the head honcho. And so what Abraham did was, you know, everybody went to bed and Abraham